Hey everyone, Jeremy Cubas here. It's not okay to suck. We've all experienced it at some point growing up. Whether you're 5 years old and you try to do something that you think looks interesting or impressive, you might have seen it in a movie, you might have seen it in a friend or an older sibling or your father do something, but you just end up kind of sucking at it. You suck so hard that out of frustration you scream or even cry. Or if you're a teenager and are trying to do well in a sport or a game or an instrument or whatever, and are just unable to be as excellent as you want to be, or excellent as you know one should be. You may get discouraged, and then a parent or a teacher comes to you and says something stupid like, "It's okay," followed by a platitude of, "Don't be so hard on yourself," or "You are so good, keep it up." So we end up either remaining sucking at it or giving up altogether. And either way, we end up believing that it's actually okay to suck. But really, it's not okay to suck. Being too hard on yourself is basically an intuition pointing you towards excellence. It's your intuition recognizing what was always understood as the reality of cardinal virtues. One of the most unfortunate aspects of our contemporary flawed utilitarian ethics is the eradication of cardinal virtues. For the utilitarian, morality really only applies to how we relate to one another, and not how we exist in our nature. However, in reality, how we treat one another is dictated by how we are oriented towards the goodness itself. From Socrates to Aristotle to the ancient Jews and the entirety of Christendom, the moral system began with our orientation to the first principle of goodness itself, as Plato writes, or God, as was known throughout Christendom. Our relation to others was secondary and rested on the primary orientation towards God. This was understood as virtue ethics, which were the fundamental principles of the natural law theory. In virtue ethics, there were 4 cardinal virtues: prudence, justice, temperance, and fortitude. All good acts were derived from these cardinal virtues. And in all of these cardinal virtues, one is denying oneself one's own appetites, that is normally found in the 7 cardinal sins, or the 7 deadly sins as also known. And we are denying those in order to strive for excellence that is beyond ourself. Or as Aquinas says, the cardinal virtues are the good which exists in act of reason. It's found in our rational soul. It's the excellence of our distinct human quality of reason. So prudence, as Aquinas says, was the good in reason's act of consideration. Justice was the every virtue that causes the good of right and due in operation. It was the intellect's engaging in the correct consequences that is due to our actions. Temperance is every virtue that curbs and represses the passions. It is tempering our appetites. And lastly, and most importantly, fortitude, also known as courage, is every virtue that strengthens the mind against any passions whatsoever. This St. Ambrose called the highest virtue, higher than the rest. Because all virtuous acts begins chiefly with courage. Without courage, you cannot gain virtue. One gains virtue through habit by practice. In my episode, Stop Being a Pussy, I talked about risk and the masculine virtues that one gains from taking risks and facing fearful consequences. This is fortitude in practice. And in the contemporary world, just standing up for what is true is a practice of fortitude. In our daily lives, whether at work or school, in our activities that we do and participate in society, there are constant lies and deceptions presented to us. There are moments where we have the option to remain silent and capitulate to the lies. Many of us accept the lies from time to time and even begin to regurgitate the lies in order to keep the jobs or pass our classes and participate in polite society. So when you have a transgender, for example, that says that you have to call her a he, or the other way around, a he, a she, we tend to simply comply and ignore that which is true. We must remember that all moral virtue begins with fortitude. It begins with courage. When we capitulate to the lies and begin to spew out lies out of our mouths to get the degree, or to keep that job, or to even get the job, it makes us cowards who gains the whole world at the cost of losing our own souls. We must practice fortitude and not allow ourselves to be compelled to tell lies. Not allow ourselves to be compelled to accept the lies. We must stand firm in the truth, whatever the truth may be. Whether it is about transgenderism or truths about human nature or God, whether it's about morality or anything, we must be brave enough to deny the lies and explicate the truth. And this isn't easy. We will fail many times over. We will suck at it first. And the more times that we keep practicing it, we begin to achieve excellence. The same way the first time you try to play a piano, or dribble a soccer ball or a basketball, or hit a baseball coming at you at 90 miles per hour, when you first attempt that, you will suck at it. But that inner voice telling you, you suck, you're a piece of shit, be better, that's our intuition telling us that our existence is to strive for excellence, to be properly oriented to goodness itself. And although excellence of all kinds directs us properly to our orientation of goodness itself, to God, but there is no better excellence than virtue and moral excellence. In every aspect of your life, it is not okay to suck. We must always strive for perfection, no matter how many times we fail, no matter how many times we suck at it. Never be okay with sucking. All right? That's the end for this segment. Our show continues for our members. And those who are not members, please just look us up on Patreon or our website at contragentiles.com and become a member. You could catch the rest of this show. You could catch the other shows and segments that we do for our members only. All right? Thank you. See you tomorrow.